Felicity Taylor a week out from the U23 World Championships, but a few weeks into, I keep referring to this season for you guys as like the Redshirt season. Is that like a fair way to like label it, or like how, like what's the approach, I guess, for this like first year, sorta, for the Iowa women's wrestling program?
Yeah, I think a redshirt season's like a pretty good term to use for it. We're on the mat practicing like we would any other season, so I mean that's typically how you do it when you're redshirting. We're not treating it as anything less than that. We're still preparing, and I know the girls are getting ready for an open on November 5th, so we still have goals and we're competing and training just as we normally would.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll talk a lot about wrestling, but being in Iowa City now, being a student at Iowa, like what has the process been like for you? Like how have the first few weeks gone?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a change, but ultimately the goals are the same, to get better at the sport, to win, to grow with the team, and I think that's exactly what we've been doing. We've been getting better every day. We've been in the room, so we're learning to wrestle with each other. A lot of the team is new and freshmen, so that's been a little bit of a change for me, coming from like a more like older team at McKendree, but it's all good and we're learning, and it's been great.
Yeah. Do you feel like the vet? I mean, you're the one with all the college experience in that room.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't feel like I am at all. They have so much experience on the mat. Like, they've all started wrestling at like a young age and stuff, so experience-wise, it doesn't feel like it, but I still feel like they come to me if they have questions or stuff like that, so that's been pretty cool to just have that experience and be able to share that knowledge with the other girls.
How often have they been coming to you?
I mean, it's just like little things, like if they have problems with weight, or like they're deciding between like going to certain tournaments. Like I know Moval obviously is the biggest tournament for women's wrestling, I believe, right now. So I just really encourage all of them to try and make it to that. If we're redshirting, so it's all coming out of our budget. But I said if any of them, that's the one to go to this year. So just little things like that, but.
Absolutely. You and Nyla kind of give Iowa wrestling fans a little preview of maybe what to expect a little bit coming up. What's training been like preparing for U23s? I know this is your second go around on this team.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's the same. We're practicing 5-6 days a week, so just being on the mat, I mean, I feel prepared. Coach Chen has done a great job of getting us prepared, and all the girls have been super helpful and getting extra workouts in and just showing up for us. Even, today's the first day of season, but they've been showing up since we've got here, so.
Yeah. What did you learn about the U23 experience and competing internationally, after going through that process last year?
I try not to think of it as anything like too special. Obviously, it's a world championship, but just taking it, it's just another tournament, taking it one match at a time. So I try not to like hype it up too much in my mind. I don't want to like overwhelm myself or anything, but I am excited and I feel ready to go.
Yeah, I know. When we talk to the guys a lot who do U23s or Greco, like we always talk about like the international freestyle style, but like women in collegiate in USA, like they wrestle freestyle. So like I feel like you guys in that sense might be a little bit like already more prepared, I guess, going over to these overseas tournaments.
Yeah, we don't have to switch styles, which obviously I honestly forgot boys have to do that. They don't have to do that. So that's definitely nice, but yeah.
Absolutely. How much, is there anything specific that you focus on after, experiencing international opponents and then coming back to then prepare yourself and get ready to go back overseas? Is there any, one specific part of, the wrestling styles that they present that you work on?
I did go back and, watch my matches from 2019 Worlds. I've been watching film on the girls that they just released the entries, so I'll be watching some film on them. But I try not to focus too much of my time and energy on, what other girls are doing, more so what I'm doing and how I feel and all of that. At the end of the day, I'm going to go out there and wrestle whatever I feel, so just feeling confident in what I have.
Absolutely, yeah. I think what the other thing I wanted to ask you about was just, I guess last spring and summer, obviously you did the, World Team Trials series, or I guess it's like a 3-step process now. But you got all the way to the end. You got all the way to Final X. What did you kind of learn through that process about yourself, about your wrestling, about, the girl that beat you obviously went on to win a world title. Just what what do you take away from that to maybe help you as you prepare for U23s coming up?
I think the biggest thing is confidence. I feel like I didn't really believe in myself up until then, so just showing myself like you're the second best at your weight class in the U.S. and then the girl that beat you is now a world champion, so just believing in myself a little bit more. And I really felt like my turning point kind of at the U.S. Open when I beat Alyssa Lampe. I knew I could beat her deep down, but I don't know if I was really telling myself I could. But then I got on top, and I knew if I could get on top, then I could win. So just kind of trusting my offense, I got to it, and then, you know, if you trust yourself and what you are capable of, then you can win matches, and that's what happened there.
Yeah, it's always interesting when wrestlers are like, you know, like, yeah, like the confidence and belief, but then like to hear you say like, yeah, like you had to go out and just like hit your moves obviously and get on top, and you know, I think it was a lace at the U.S. Open, like that's you know, to hear that that's where the belief is from, like I guess that's super interesting just to kind of see where it plays out a little bit.
Yeah, and my coach Sam Schmitz, he told me that. He's like, if you go out there and you get your takedown, if you believe in your offense and get on top, like, the match is over. You'll be fine. And then that's what – it took me a while. I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes in, but I believed in it and I did it, and then I won, so.
Absolutely. You're going overseas with Nyla, who I believe, maybe just through previous conversation, that's somebody that's on the Iowa team that you've gotten to know pretty well, and so that's got to be pretty special for both of you to be able to go overseas and, you know, compete alongside each other, right?
Yeah, it's definitely nice having someone familiar there, and I've been getting to go with her in the room quite a bit, so just having that familiar feel for drilling, and then Coach Chun is actually going with too, so it'll be nice to have both of them there, make it feel a little bit like at home, so it's not much of a change. And yeah, I'm excited that the both of them get to go with, and Nyla gets to compete.
Yeah.
Her first, I think, world team? I don't know. I might be wrong about that, but for sure U23 world team, so.
Yeah. What have you learned working with Coach Chun? I know that she's someone that you've probably gotten to know over the years, but like really getting to focus in and work with her individually, like what's that experience been like so far?
It's been awesome. She has so much knowledge on just every position, so just being able to like pick her brain on different positions and different fields has been the best part. Like, and she's been on the, you know, she's been at Worlds and the Olympics and all of that. She's been on every level, so just being able to not only pick her brain on like the mat, but also the experience and what was going through her mind and all of the other stuff that people don't really get to experience or feel.
100%. I know that just kind of talking to her earlier today while you guys were practicing, you know, like a conversation around diet, for example, like that's something that I think she's going to start approaching with some of the athletes, but that's probably something that with your experience you probably already know a little bit about. Yeah.
Actually, not too much.
Oh,
so
okay.
This is actually the tournament that I've been starting to like dial into that more. I feel like with my wrestling, it's kind of been focused in on like other things. So like this year, I feel like I've started falling in love with the process more.
Yeah.
And then now, my main focus for this go around was like to focus on my diet. And I got a little bit heavier than I was normally. So then I got to work with the Olympic Training Center nutritionist, and she's been like teaching me more about that and just slowly getting my weight down. And I've been feeling great. So yeah. You'd think I'd have more knowledge, but I'm learning just with the girls, and but being able to learn from Nuani at the Olympic Training Center, and then helping the girls, you know, where they had their hydration tests and all that today. So just helping them if they have any questions on that too. So
yeah, well, you mentioned the USOC. I guess the OTC and all, I guess I really just all the perks that come from being on the national team.
Yeah.
You know, because when you're, you know, 1, 2, 3 on the ladder, you get those perks. What all have you been able to take advantage of? Where and what areas has it maybe helped you a little bit? Because that's a really unique thing when it comes to Olympic sports for college athletes.
Right. I think, you know, being able to talk with the nutritionist Nawani has been the best perk. That's the one that I've really taken advantage of, I think, of as of lately. I feel like other than that, we have a lot of the stuff we need here. Like we have Clarissa, we have Coach Mayab, we have so many, and then all the facilities that Iowa has to offer. So, but yeah, I'd say the nutritionist, Nuani, has been great being able to take advantage of being on national team.
Absolutely. Still a little ways before I guess you go over to Spain to compete, but you know, expectations. What do you got? I guess what's top of mind when you go over to compete at a big international competition like that?
I feel like just staying in routine and feeling good. Mainly making sure my body feels good. You don't really know what they have to offer, like food wise, so I mean, I'll be bringing most of that, but just making sure I feel good on the mat, off the mat, everything is good, and keeping the same routines that I have here.
Yeah. What's the travel schedule like? Because I know Spain's not terribly far away, so it's not like the time difference is going to be massive like it would be for other countries, but that's
Right.
still that's an adjustment, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's another big thing, is making sure I can get my sleep down. I think it's a 7-hour difference. I think they're 7 hours ahead. So getting that down early, and I struggled with that when I went with the world team, and we went to France, or where did we go? Paris.
Yeah.
And Serbia. So just trying to control that early on. So I'm feeling good when it comes time for competition. So.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Clarissa was telling me too that like you and Nyla, and I think Nanea too, got that experience to go over with the senior world team. What was that like? What'd you learn? What was that experience like?
It was honestly awesome, like being able to see them in person. You know, you watch it on Flow, and it's just such a different experience being in there in person. And I got to be a training partner for Kayla Miracle, which was amazing. So she gave me like a really good experience, like being down there, and helping her prepare was super rewarding. And then she ended up getting second, which is awesome. So it's completely different than watching it through a phone screen or on TV. So it's great to be able to experience it in person.
Absolutely. Yeah, Felicity, that's I think that was all the questions I had for you, unless there was anything else you wanted to add.
I think that's good.
Righteous.
Thank